Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah if you happen to be new here. Today I'm going to share with you some canning recipes. This is probably actually going to be filmed over the course of 2 days. I don't think I can actually get everything done today, but it's that time of year and I thought that I would just show you what I'm doing. Because of when we moved into our home this year, I wasn't able to plant a garden of my own, so I did get all of my produce mostly from a farmer's market this morning that I went to with my mom, and then I got a few things from Walmart as well to kind of just like supplement the things I didn't think I was going to be able to find at the farmer's market. I'm going to be making pizza sauce, peach salsa, and then if I have leftover peaches, I'm going to do some peach jam, peach jelly. I got a box of peaches last night from the fruit truck. I will leave a link to them down below. I'm not sponsored in any way, but it's a fruit truck from these different places that grow the fruit. So I've done strawberries from Florida. I did that earlier in the year when they were in season. And then these peaches I got are Georgia peaches. So pretty much these places that grow all of the fruit will harvest it and put it on a refrigerator truck, and then go to all these places all around the US, and you just like buy the box of fruit or however much you want from the back of their truck, the back of a semi truck. So I got a box of peaches. So the box of peaches is approximately 20 pounds and I paid $45 for it. And then I got 15 pounds of tomatoes and that was $60 at the farmer's market. I got a white onion and some like a mix of peppers for the salsa from the farmer's market, and that was $6, I'm pretty sure. From Walmart, I got a red onion, some garlic, some sugar, just because I don't think I'm gonna have enough if I get to the jelly part, and then lime juice, because the recipe I found specifically calls for bottled lime juice. I will leave the recipes that I found linked down below. I'm following them mostly, and I am water bath canning today. I'm going to start with the pizza sauce because it has to simmer for 2 to 4 hours. And so ingredients for that are tomatoes. It says Roma, but I just got like tomatoes, I don't know. White onion, garlic, olive oil, salt, sugar, Italian seasoning, and I don't actually have any, but I have Italian type seasonings I'm going to use. Lemon juice for the jars before you actually can them. If you don't know anything about water bath canning, you have to make sure that your acid levels are high enough that nothing goes bad without pressure canning it. Also, a really quick side note, the last video I did my nails. So if you're only here for canning, timestamps are linked down below. You can go ahead and move forward. If you're here because you like watching my like day in the life around the house videos and you're curious, the last video I did my nails with the gel kit thing I got, and I wanted to give an update. I am 2 days after doing them and they're still looking pretty good. This nail here has a little like chipped part where it's raising. 100% user error. I don't think I like went around my nail enough. So I'm gonna get all of my equipment and supplies gathered up, and then we're going to go ahead and get this processing. Okay, let's get started. First, I did wash all of the produce. Make sure you do that. And I used some Dr. Bronner's soap, which is why it looks a little cloudy there. But we are going to get started with the pizza sauce. So I'm taking garlic and onions, cutting it up, and I'm going to puree it. And then I put olive oil in the bottom of my stock pot, and it's all going to go in there. Now, you do not have to puree your garlic and onions. If you like more chunks in there, you can definitely keep it that way. My family does not like onions. So they like the flavors, they'll eat the flavors, but they will not eat onions. So that's why I'm choosing to puree it. Definitely not necessary for you though. Then you are going to put this pot on the stovetop, get the oil hot, and cook down the onions and the garlic until they start to get kind of translucent. It's going to be hard to tell because there's a decent amount of oil in here because it's a lot of sauce that you're making, but you just want to cook it down. I cooked it down as I was doing the tomatoes. I did not peel the tomatoes because I'm also adding those into the blender and pureeing it, which you will want to do that part of it, so that it is a sauce. And the skins just kind of, I don't know, turn into nothing, just like the rest of the tomatoes. So it's not necessary to peel them. And then back to my onions. It's been going for a while and adding in all of the spices and letting that sit for a few minutes just until you can smell those spices, but then starting to add in the tomatoes. You came along, couldn't look away. I just kept going until all of my tomatoes were done. This is what it is looking like. And this is what it looked like about an hour and a half later while I had been working on other things. And then during this time, I was also cleaning up my jars. Okay, so I have my whole operation set up here. So back in here right now, I have jars. The water is getting hot, and the hot water, those jars I washed and dried in really hot soapy water, and then that hot water will help to sanitize the jars and warm them up so that there's no issues when I put the hot sauce in. These are the lids. I put them, this water had just been boiling, and then I turned it down so that it just stays warm to help, that helps sanitize those. But also, if you've never canned, that like darker color rim there, that is like a rubbery type lid, that's the seal. So the warm water helps to make that softer, so then when it's canning, it can like seal to the jar. In here, this is what our pizza sauce is looking like, as you can see. So this is where it started up here, and it has reduced all the way down to here. And it's been going for about 3.5 hours. I've had it simmering to get that liquid out. This is the consistency of it. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. And then over here, this towel is going to be for filling my jars. So I'll use these tongs to pull the jars out and set them on the towel. Use the ladle to fill the sauce into the hot jars. This one will come up here. This will go away. That's technically a pressure canner, but I just use it as a big canner when I need to use my water bath canner as my stock pot. And then after I pull them out, I will put them back on that one, because you want your cans to sit out for 12 to 24 hours until they're completely cooled down and you make sure they seal and all of that. We're gonna go ahead and process that. I need this stock pot to finish up the salsa, but let's go ahead and get this pizza sauce processing, and we're going to process it for 25 minutes, and I am doing a 1/2 pint jar is the size of those. Okay, so moving my big canner to the front. Again, this is a pressure canner, but I'm not using it as a pressure canner. I'm just using it to fill with water to water bath. You can use any pot for that as long as it can handle, you know, it can cover. You need to cover the jars once they're in there by about 1 inch is what I like to do. And so just taking all of those jars out and setting them on the towel on the counter and putting the lemon juice in each one of these. Again, that is to make sure that our acid level is high enough that it is safe to water bath can this sauce. If you're ever in doubt on something acidic like a salsa, enchilada sauce, pizza sauce, ketchup, anything like that, add a little bit of lemon juice because it doesn't alter the flavor, but it makes sure that you're good to go. And then putting the pizza sauce in there with 1 inch headspace, I think is what I about did. Putting the lid on top and then sealing it finger tight with the rim. You do not want to make these too tight or it will not process correctly. A foolish heart and healing thought I would be fine. No matter where I lay my head. And then putting them back in there, and you want to alternate your weight, which is what I'm doing. And the whole time I'm like, wow, this wire rack looks like it is a little loose. This is not, yep, there it goes. And then the very hot water splashed up on me. Thankfully, I did not get hurt and nothing broke. So I decided to just set the wire basket down on the bottom of the pan and use my little jar lifters to put the jars in. And that is how I did it for the remainder of the weekend. Nobody was harmed in the making of this video. Okay, so after you get them all in, the lid on, and then you are going to bring that water to a boil, like so. Once it starts boiling, you set your timer for your process time. When that timer goes off, you can shut off the heat and remove the jars, again with the jar lifter, and you want to set them on a towel to create a barrier between the jar and the counter. And then they will sit here for 12 to 24 hours, just like this. Don't touch them, don't do anything. Next, I'm moving on to the peach salsa. I actually jumped around all day and was kind of doing both things. So that pizza sauce had to simmer for 4 hours. So I was actually doing this part of doing all the chopping and getting the salsa ready while that was simmering. I just wanted to make it easier for you guys to follow with each recipe. So I put all of the pizza sauce together, all of the peach salsa together, etc. Even though that's not actually how I worked. I was all over the place all day long. I spent about 10 hours in the kitchen on Saturday, and then, oh gosh, maybe 6 or 7 hours on Sunday. For this salsa, I am peeling the tomatoes. So you just get some water boiling and then you drop them in there, and then the skin will start to split. You can kind of see it right here. And then the next tomato I pick up, you'll be able to really see it. When it starts to split like this, take it out and put it into some cold water. Ice water would be better. I just didn't have any ice. And let it sit until they are cooled off and easier to touch. So while I was doing more of those, because there were more than just 3 in there, I went back to chopping and worked on that until that was all done. The first time I ever canned anything was with my mom, and I pretty much did this part of it where I was prepping everything, and then she did the actual processing of the canning and filling the cans and doing all of the things while I kind of watched. And then I did one batch it was over a weekend that we did everything. I only did one thing of putting it in the water and taking it out and all of that. And then, so once all of that is all mixed together, I moved on to the tomatoes and I peeled them. I should have cored them before I peeled them. So let this be your reminder to take the core out before you peel them, because now they're kind of soft and it just didn't come out as well. And then chopping all of those up about the same size as the peppers and the onion that I had done. This year, 2024, I decided that I was going to really make an effort to do it on my own. I kept putting it in my head that it was like scary to do and I didn't want to do it, and I couldn't do it or whatever it may be. I didn't know how, and it's really not that hard. It takes time, but it's really not that hard. And so I just did it. I started consistently in January, and here we are now. And then the peaches, I had red, and then I was also told that you could blanch them just like you did the tomatoes, but not to leave them in there very long. I did not have luck with that. So I did that to a batch, and that's why it was kind of hard for me to peel there. And then after that, I did not blanch any more than that. I decided to just peel them, and I did have to pit all of them because they're fresh peaches, and so that took quite a bit of time. But again, just cutting those up the same size as the tomatoes and the onions and peppers and stuff. So it's all consistent when you're eating. So there I have everything. I use this as a way to measure it out, but then I did mix it all in my big stainless steel bowl, and this sat for, I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours maybe on the counter like this. And it kind of helped all those flavors combine, and it helped soften up the peaches a little bit, because not all of the peaches in this box were ripe to the point I would consider them ripe. So having them sit out like this really helped. I started getting stuff ready about 10 o'clock and it's almost 3 o'clock now. I have stopped to help take care of my kids. We had lunch. All right, and then this salsa prep is pretty much the hardest part of this. It really didn't take much else. So putting everything into the stock pot and then adding garlic. So much garlic. It tasted delicious. I tried some after it was done, but it does have a lot of garlic. And then just moving on and adding the other ingredients. This one called for vinegar and lime juice. And then I also did ask for a seasoning, red pepper flakes. So I put a little bit of that in there. I didn't measure anything. I just kind of went with my gut. I didn't want it to be too terribly spicy because the peppers, I could smell the peppers as I was cutting them, and they were definitely very spicy. And that's why I was wearing the gloves when I was cutting them. But you just bring this mixture to a boil and boil for 10 minutes. And then same thing, get your hot jars out, fill them up with 1 to a 1/2 inch head space.
Me and my friends are waiting in line, sharing one last blue camel. Don't have any money, but we're going out. Yeah, we saved up every penny. I'm smiling at him.
And then I have this little tool, and you stick it down in there on the sides, and that releases any air bubbles that might be down at the bottom, wiping up the lids for anything that might have spilled, and then putting that lid and the rim back on.
Blue shirt and the Converse, but I'm thinking about you.
Again, finger tight. You don't want it too tight. And then back in the water it goes to process. The great thing about water bath canning is once you have it down, the process of make your stuff, fill the jars, lid, rim in the water, boil for process time, remove. Like once you just know in your head this is how it goes, it does kind of move a little faster. I also just got a Thrive Market order, and so again, if you're only here for the canning, you can go ahead and skip to the next part of the video. Timestamps again will be down below, or I think on the bar down here it'll show the break of where I'm done talking about this, so I will make sure to add that in. But as I've recently said, that I am changing my diet to eliminate gluten because of some health issues, not celiac, so not a true allergy where I need to have my whole family go gluten-free, but I'm just eliminating gluten from my diet. So I placed an order with Thrive Market because a lot of their things are cheaper, not everything, and I have had a membership for the last not even full year yet, and I have saved money on there. To be determined if I continue it. The problem is I don't live in a super big city. I would have to drive to get to a really big city, so my gluten-free options are kind of limited unless I go to stores that it's going to cost a lot more than this. And this is not sponsored. I know it kind of sounds like that, but I promise it's not. Thrive Market has no idea who I even am. So we also do try to make mindful choices for our kids. So I try to not have high fructose corn syrup and things, and I also try to avoid food dyes wherever I can, as often as I can. Occasionally they'll slip in, but for the most part we don't do any food dyes. So I got 4 bags of M&Ms that are colored with vegetable something or another. I had to get 4 bags. That was their minimum purchase on this order, so I probably would have only gotten 2, but you had to order 4, so I just went ahead and got 4. They're not the cheapest thing ever, but I haven't found dye-free M&Ms anywhere else. I have found dye-free sprinkles at Trader Joe's, but I haven't found M&Ms there. And then I got some Go Macro Kids bars. These are the oatmeal chocolate chip with protein, some guacamole avocado crisps for myself, a bag of gluten-free flour. It is pretty much the same price as Walmart, different brands, but the size of the bag with the cost per ounce and all of that, I haven't used it enough to know if I have a preferred brand or not. This was already in my cart before I went to Walmart and got the stuff I bought last week, so I just kept it. I will go through it. I got some lightly salted rice crackers. These are the thin rice crackers. Since I don't have bread and stuff to be eating, I need different vehicles to put food into my mouth. I got some, that sounded really weird. I got some veggie flour pita crackers. These are Mediterranean herb flavored. I got these for the boys, Heavenly Hunks minis. They do like the Heavenly Hunks, but they're kind of big. These ones are the oatmeal chocolate ones. And then these ones are for me. They are gluten-free, so peanut butter chocolate Heavenly Hunks. Another jar of honey. This is our favorite honey. Honey Everywhere is expensive, but this one is like super creamy. It kind of looks like caramel. I've said that before in my videos that it looks like I'm pouring caramel on stuff, but it's honey. The taste is really good. It doesn't get all like caked and crystallized in there, so we really like that. And then I got 2 cans of the, what is it, Doc Poppy. It's supposed to be similar to Dr. Pepper. Now, if you're drinking this and hoping for it to taste exactly like Dr. Pepper, it does not. But I think that it is a good soda alternative. Again, not sponsored. I've used them on and off since I think my first order ever from them was in 2020. Okay, this is actually the next day. And I am starting out with peach pie filling I decided to make. So just slicing up the peaches so that it'd be a good size for pie filling. That took me so long.
Are you thinking about me too? Vodka soda, way too drunk to call you up.
On this recipe, you boil some water. After it's boiled, you add in your sliced peaches, and then you boil. I don't remember how long, with the recipes down below. And then after it's boiling with the peaches in it, you remove the peaches. Okay, so peaches are still not back to a boil yet. Once those boil, we'll take the peaches out. Keep the liquid because that's used for the actual filling. This is 7 cups of sugar, which seems like a lot, but remember this is 6 quarts of peaches. So, which is 24 cups of peaches, 7 cups of sugar, 1 3/4 cup of lemon juice. This is clear gel, cook type. This is what makes it like I don't know how to describe it. It's not syrup, but the stuff that I'll show you. This is what gives the pie filling the consistency it's supposed to have and makes it have that like clear look to it. This is going to be, this had the peaches in it at one point when I was measuring them. This is what I'm going to measure up the pie liquid, or the peach liquid that it's boiling in right now. The recipe calls for almond extract and I don't have any. I'm gonna put a little vanilla in there, and then it says to use sugar or cinnamon. All I have a little bit of this like cinnamon sugar mix that we keep in the pantry for toast, because I didn't realize I was out of cinnamon until just now. So once this boils, we'll keep on keeping on. And then I do have some jars in here getting all warmed up. The water is kind of cloudy. It's just because I use tap water, and that's, I mean, just how our tap water is. And then over here, these are just about done for, they've been sitting long enough. I'm going to take the rings off, label them, and get them downstairs on my shelves. You'll have to excuse how I look today. You'll be able to see the reflection of the camera. My glasses probably, I'm still in my pajamas. I didn't even get dressed today. I just came in the kitchen and got working on this stuff. I started around 8:30 and it's currently 11:30. Peeling and cutting the peaches took a really long time. I still had about 15 pounds left to peel, and it took me like an hour and a half to do. So, but I will be so thankful when all of this is done and sitting on the shelves and we can just pull from it. I was just telling Anthony this morning as I was peeling peaches that I am so excited for fall time. Like, I'm ready for the weather to start cooling off and we can make, we're gonna use the peach pie filling to make like a peach cobbler type of a thing. So excited for that, but let's keep working on it. So I just used, because again, you have to reserve this liquid, the liquid to go back into the pie filling. So I just used a scoop to get those out. Adding in the sugar, the clear gel, and that peach liquid we've reserved, mixing that up really well, and then bring it to a kind of a boil. It'll start to thicken up. Adding in the cinnamon and the vanilla. And then this had lemon juice in it. I'm pretty sure I said that in the list of ingredients. Mix it up and then add in the peaches. Add the peaches back in.
So I'm crying, dancing, swearing I'll forget you, kissing strangers.
Mix it all around, and then here we go again, getting our cans ready. So again, you can see it's a very consistent process. Keep going. I will say on pie filling, you want a little more headspace. You want at least an inch, if not an inch and a half, because it does expand a little bit. And I learned when I made strawberry pie filling that it will leak out of the lid as it's processing, and your jars can get really sticky.
To feel something
As the peach stuff was processing, I decided I needed to get all of the pizza stuff and the other salsa off of the counter. So I have these cute little labels that I got from Amazon, and I just write what it is and then the month and year that I made it. Okay, so for that second one, you heard it pop. That means that that jar did not seal properly. And you have two options. You can reprocess it, so you can put it back in the water and hope that it processes properly. It doesn't always the second time. I just choose to put it straight in the fridge and use it right away. Choice is yours, but that's why you want to check everything as well. This is what the peach pie filling looked like when it was all done. That looks so good. And then I moved on and I decided to make some peach jelly. And the recipe actually says to slice up your peaches, put it in your stock pot, and use a potato masher. I puree it. That's just a personal choice. I don't like the texture of just mashing it, so I puree it. And then adding in lemon juice. I made a double batch of this all at once, obviously, but I did do a double batch. I doubled the recipe because I had that many peaches left. So typically you would only use one box of this Sure Gel. I used two. So pretty much you mix everything in except for your sugar. You bring it to a boil, as you can see, and then you add in your sugar. With jam, jelly, I actually don't know the difference, but when you're making jam, you will mix in this sugar and then you want to bring it back to a hard boil. A hard boil is when, as it's boiling, if you're using a spoon or your whisk to stir, it doesn't stop. So it will boil pretty much like through your utensil. You can see here I'm stirring it and it's still boiling. It'll rise a bit. It gets a little scary. You think it's going to boil over. If your pot is big enough, it does not. But then once it starts hard boiling, you set a timer for 1 minute. And then when that 1 minute is done, you shut your heat off. And then there's going to be foam at the top and you want to scrape all of that off. I just put it in a bowl and leave it on the counter. Some of that foam will settle and you'll actually have a little bit of the jam left. And I always take that jam and put it straight into my fridge after it's completely cooled. And that's what we eat right away. And then once all that foam is off, that is what it looks like. Again, you fill, lids and rings, into the water bath canner, bring to a boil for the process time, take it out, leave it sit for 12 to 24 hours. And my jars did get kind of like chalky-ish. I use tap water to fill up the water bath canner, and after a while, it does this. I have heard that you can put a little splash of vinegar in your water if you want to keep everything clear and clean. I've never done that because I don't like the smell of boiling vinegar. Neither does my family. So I just choose not to do that, and I just wipe up the jars when I'm done. And then I labeled all of these, and I had all of the jelly. I did the jelly, the jam in a few different size jars just because I had a variety downstairs and wanted to go ahead and use them all up. But you can see these ones are pretty chalky. You'll be able to tell once I wipe them up. And then labeled these, and they went downstairs on the shelves as well. I just got all of the cans brought downstairs, and I'm sorry it's going to be kind of noisy down here because the air conditioner is running and the heat run or the vent run is like right here. Plus the dehumidifier is going because we got a lot of rain last night. Anyway, I figured I would show you like our canning area. So this is everything I have canned right now. I've only done water bath canning, no pressure canning. And the lighting's going to get kind of weird just because of where the light is placed. But back here I have some strawberry lemonade concentrate, strawberry pie filling. This is all the peach pie filling that I just made this weekend, strawberry vanilla jam, all of the peach jam I just made, the peach salsa I made. This is some spicy salsa I made earlier this year. This is all of the pizza sauce that I made, So I'm happy with how much that made. I'm actually shocked. I have one spaghetti sauce left, an enchilada. I had used the last of my enchilada actually about a month ago, I think. Maybe 2 months ago. And my mom actually said she had more. So she gave me that one so that we will use it before she will. 4 cans of crushed tomatoes. I have some cowboy candy here, which is like a sweet jalapeno. I haven't actually tried it yet because after you make it, you're supposed to let it sit for a few months before you actually eat it. And then I have 1 jar of pickles left. So that's everything that we have down here. Not too shabby. I still have a list of things I would like to do, and I also want to do some pressure canning. And then up here, I just have empty jars. So all sorts of empty jars. I actually have a few more half-gallon jars right here. I just haven't taken them out of the package and put them over here yet. I also have some of these regular mouth pint jars that are still in this box from when I got them at Sam's Club. And then I store all of the rings in this big white basket. I used to just like leave them sitting on the shelf. We were using this basket for something else for Anthony and he doesn't need it anymore, so I have all of those in there. I have extra lids for regular mouth in here, and then I have wide mouth lids, rings, and like these lids here as well. So I store all of my canned goods without the ring because if one of these pops, one of the lids pops off as it's getting bad, the ring can create a false seal and you wouldn't actually know that it has popped up and gone bad. So I do store them off. I know some people store them on, but then once it's open, if you don't use the whole thing, like the salsa for instance, you take this off, you don't want to just set it back on there because it doesn't recreate the seal. So a lot of times you would have to put the jar on and then this on and then put a ring back on it to store it in the fridge. Instead, I bought these white lids that just sit on top of there after the lid has been taken off. That's what that's looking like. I'm so happy with it. It fills my heart with so much joy to see it all here and see the shelf be filled up. That's everything I have to share with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned a thing or two. Maybe you can teach me a thing or two. I'm still fairly new to canning. At the very least, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.
So